Update. Am I the asshole for making my late wife's daughter move out so I can date in peace? Original post here. My post got a lot of attention and there have been some developments, so I thought people might be interested. I accept some blame in the situation, but there were also a lot of details I didn't have room for. Since this post, Beth and I had some long conversations about the near future. Beth was mad for a couple days, but yesterday came to talk to me and told me she realizes I've done a lot for her and wanted to thank me, but also acknowledged it's probably best for both of us to move on. She also recognized I have a right to move on at my own pace and apologized for lashing out at me. One of her best friends is looking to get her own place as well, so they will be looking into getting an apartment together, either by this summer or sooner. While we're not religious, as a holiday gift I told her I will pay her entire security deposit when she finds her place. Not entirely sure if we will keep in touch much after she moves out, but I'm glad we've come to an agreement that will allow both of us to move on without resentment towards each other. Thought some people might be interested due to the passionate responses I got. That's great that things ended amicably. TBH, it sounds like she'd be better off not living with you as well, and she probably came to the same conclusion. Change is difficult, especially when she's going out on her own for the first time, during a pandemic no less. Even if you never had a parental relationship with her, you should keep in touch for a bit out of respect to your late wife. Tell her that you'll be reaching out occasionally to make sure she's adjusting and that things are going smoothly for her. Lol, anyone else find it super suspicious that Op was deemed the asshole yet? Beth magically did what he wanted? I have no feeling at all for my stepdaughter after being in her life for 10 plus years. Her mom died and she was upset I decided to move on within a year. She's really cramping my style because I am trying to get laid. Don't worry though. After you all called me an asshole, I talked to her and suddenly she said she and I should no longer be in each other's lives, and she's super cool with me moving on from her mom after a few weeks later. She is super healthy and living with a friend. I'm calling shenanigans. You literally posted, what? 2 weeks ago max, and everything is perfect now? You are not a good person, Op. Sorry. I'm so glad to read this, and I think that the security deposit is a nice parting gift. For context, in the original post people unanimously said you are the asshole. Op kept editing the story until people started saying not the asshole, take that for what you will. If we got the daughter's side of the story, it would likely be something completely different. I'm glad she has gotten out of this situation regardless of what is actually true in what Op has said. Good on you. I'm glad you guys could move on a good note. When I read your first post I thought you were frustrated. You didn't hate her, but she wasn't your responsibility. I think it's very mature of you to do what you have done. Keep in touch with her if you'd like. It's up to you. I never found you moving on to be problematic because that you can best decide for yourself. In my opinion, and you can disagree obviously, if I truly love a person and they have a kid, I'd at least care about them too. It doesn't mean that I'll try to become their parent, but this, I don't want any cordial or warm relationship, is beyond me. Even if her mother didn't ask for it, that's a way to honor someone you once loved. Again, just my opinion. This ended better than I thought it would. I'm glad you were able to come to an agreement. This whole thing made me so grateful for my stepdad. I can't imagine him not being a big part of my life whether my mom is there or not. I'm going to call him and tell him I love him. BRB. Even with your update you still sound like an incredibly selfish and insensitive person. Sounds like Beth is dodging a bullet living with you any longer. I hope she finds emotional support, friendship, and peace. You're still in the asshole. While we're not religious, as a holiday gift I told her I will pay her entire security deposit when she finds her place. Why is giving a gift something religious? Seen your last post. I am glad that you both have come to an understanding on the situation. My stepdad and mom aren't married, haven't been the entire 15 years they've been together. He came into our lives when I was 17, not at all a father figure, and I've never seen him as such. He's still family, even if we're not super close, and he didn't raise me. Not a father figure equals no relationship. Everyone trying to justify your decision by equating the two don't quite get it. And even if she was a complete stranger, forcing the hand of a 19-year-old who just lost her mother and appears not to have any additional family support, during a pandemic no less, is just pretty harsh. It's nice of you to pay her way out, but it's pretty heart-wrenching the attitude you have towards her. Bring on the downvotes lol. I just feel horrible that her mother invested 10 years with a guy who doesn't give a shit about her daughter. That's sad. I asked I'm the original post, but what were your wife's wishes after she found out she was sick? You're still the asshole. Even if you weren't a replacement dad, you were in her life for half of her life, even if you didn't live with her until 2 years ago. Also, she's only 19, yes that is a legal adult, but not really an emotionally fully matured adult and in school nonetheless. Jesus, I was 28 when my mom died and although I didn't go past my undergrad because school was way too stressful to do and grieve. You're kicking out a kid with whom you had a relationship with in some capacity even if it was just dating, for 10 years in a fucking pandemic with low job prospects especially for gigs like waitressing types of jobs that are flexible for students. It's fine that you are moving on, but you're being a dick to her. You are the asshole still. I don't believe this update, but I really hope that girl manages to get herself sorted, away from you. I accept some blame in the situation but there were also a lot of details I didn't have room for. I have a hard time believing there could have been anything missing there that would significantly change people's opinions. If there was, you would have included it. Nonetheless I'm very happy for you and especially her that things have been resolved amicably. This whole story is significant other fake face with rolling eyes. If I were Beth I'd resent the fuck out of you. Good for her. You're an asshole. Glad Beth found a new place but I still find the whole situation bizarre. I can't imagine dating someone for 8 years and keeping my kid completely separate the whole time. Then again you weren't living together and likely would have stayed apart if she hadn't gotten sick so I guess that was expected. Good everything ended well but you're still the asshole. Wow. I'm glad she can get away from you, considering you were ready to kick her out anyway who knows what else you might decide to do. Kudos to you for being an even worse father than mine and don't say that you weren't some kind of father figure to Beth. You were with her mother for a decade and literally married her. Come on. Wow, this one was so divisive that people are still dropping in on the update to say you're TA. It's nice to see that you got some good advice and more importantly, I'm glad the two real people involved here worked things out. Do stay in touch with her, and still not the asshole. As the child of a widow who has taken years to even begin to start to talk to other people in a romantic sense I am constantly shocked at how quickly men just move on from their dearly departed. Like for me, if my partner God forbid were to leave this earth I would hardly be able to drag myself out of bed in the morning, let alone feel anything for someone else. When my father passed it took 3 years before I could begin to feel anything other than grief, agony, or numbness. But hey I guess it's just easier for guys to move on super fast like that. Still seems weird and sad to me though. Just wish you weren't doing this during a damn pandemic to her, TF. Glad you're helping her get away from someone like you at least. I feel like Beth is the mature one. Having just one parent, my father died 4 years ago, I can completely feel her feelings and her grieving. I mean you are right, you have to move on. But you have to understand, she has no one, and no place to stay. She will never have her mother again, and no matter what this is really hard on her. Gladly, as I said, she is the mature one and she understood where you stand and your point of view, unfortunately you couldn't see her point to start with. It's great that you are willing to pay, of course you don't have to, but it's a nice gesture. I wish you both all the best. Hopefully, she will find her peace. Well, I'm glad she realizes that she will have to move on without you. Also, she probably deserves better since you probably won't be in her life anymore. Still appearing in this thread to try and say Op should never have a life of his own. Op was not the asshole originally but now it has transformed into a no assholes here as both involved acted like adults and actual spoke about things. Wow, this actually turned out great. Congrats. I am glad you and your stepdaughter are on good terms. You should still keep in touch, who knows, she may need advice or moral support in the future. I remember commenting not the asshole for that one, I think, and I probably got downvoted for it lol. But it's super nice of you to pay her rental deposit for her. Hopefully, you guys keep in touch for a bit even though you don't have a parent-child relationship with her. Good luck. This same situation happened to me. I lived and took care of my sick mom, living at home. I went back to school, she passed, my stepdad, who I call dad because he's more of one than my bio dad, moved on about a year later. The only difference is that he never once ever even suggested kicking me out of the house so he could date again. He's now dating a lovely woman, also a widow, and I'm still living at home during breaks. You don't have to be a dick to move on, and you sure as hell don't have to kick out the daughter of someone you loved so you can get laid. You are the asshole. All the people in these comments calling a 19-year-old, who is in school and just lost her mother, an adult, are absolutely wild to me. Have fun with the new girlfriends, I guess. Edit missing letters. This is the best way to go. You both handled it like adults, without hard feelings or harsh words. It's good that she's getting out of there. I'm glad she'll be freed of you. You are still an asshole, for abandoning a girl whose mother you dated for 10 years. Info, is her bio dad still in the picture? Grandparents? Does she have anyone? By the way, she's your stepdaughter whether you acknowledge the relationship or not. You're an asshole. So weird how detached you are from her. Like I said, you treat her like an inconvenient roommate. Nice of you to pay her security deposit, I guess. But also kinda an asshole move to kick her out during a pandemic, presumably to get some poon. Still ta. Glad it worked out for her, but you were definitely the asshole in your original post, and it's ridiculous to act like you weren't just to make yourself feel better. I still feel you are the asshole. Glad things worked out. If this relationship between you two were to end, it's better it ends on a good note than a bad one. Sounds amicable enough. I didn't see your original post, but I would have voted not the asshole. I think sometimes people forget there are other types of relationships beyond your typical escalator ones. It sounds like you had something a bit different with your late wife that didn't involve cohabitation, marriage until insurance was needed, or a blended family, which is totally valid. Damn. You were the only father in this kid's life, and now you are vanishing. Still seems super callous to me. You're still an asshole. Here's to hoping you don't get laid.